Hello and welcome back to another episode of Building a Computer. In the last episode, we showed off the full adder. And the full adder is the basic part of binary numbers and addition and all that stuff. There is also such things as full subtractors and all kinds of other things. But yeah, we're talking about the basic one. So after I completed my first computer, I wanted to try something. I wanted to make it actually do something. So I created this. It looks like a mess, but I'm sure the words explain it. It reads a roll, literally. So it rolls this little thing here, because these are transparent blocks. They don't conduct redstone current, but then these red ones, these wool blocks do. So they're solid. They're sending signals over to here, and it's actually going to count up in binary code. Actually, not counting, it's adding. In some cases. If it were to count, it would only really need one signal, and that would be the A signals. And maybe the B signals occasionally, and maybe this white signal occasionally. But it shouldn't be adding and carrying over, because it's carrying over, it's not actually counting, it's adding. So now the roll is going to begin moving. As you can see, this feed tape pushes it around, and it's basically, you know, it's like, it's very nice, it's very nice, it's very nice. Look at this, it's counting up. So that's, I don't even know what number that is, but, next one to light up is gonna be, that one's gonna turn off, then this one's gonna turn on, yep, and then that one's gonna turn on, and they're both gonna turn off, and it's gonna go all the way up to the top one. Boom, and as you can see, it works. So that is a success. So now we can actually read numbers off a roll, technically. And then I realized that I could just use one roll for A, one roll for B, and that could be my program. And I needed logic. But I also started working on the next thing, which is memory. So, these are memory circuits. I don't even know how we're going to implement these yet, and I really shouldn't be talking about this part. But, you know, these are memory circuits. So you push a button over here. This can't turn on because it's already on, but you push a button over here, it switches. These are called RS NOR latches. These are called RS NAND latches. Not AND, okay? NAND. Now, the RS NOR latch is the most simple one, and it's also the one we're going to be using at some point. And then you may see this abomination over here. And this is what I call the Logic X. It's the new thing. We now have access to two things. We can add numbers inside of this. This guy over here, he adds numbers. In fact, we can add up to 16. Well, not up to 16, but we can add a total of 16 numbers. In theory. Well, actually, no, is it 8 per level? I think it's 8 per level. Yeah, it's 8 per level, so 16, and then we can also have carry-ins. The only problem is that we could end up with a 5-bit number, which would be an overflow. And I'm not sure what we're going to do with this, so if this happens, then we need a system that conditionally does something with that to prevent it from overflowing. And then you may see this thing, and it looks confusing, but this is the simplest part of the whole thing. It took me a long time to build it, but this is the simplest part of the whole thing. I'll explain it in a second. So after looking at a diagram of how one of these full adders works, and how a logic unit is implemented into the system, I realized that design over there does not actually work. And we would need to have 2 rolls for each of these inputs, which would be the A, the B, you know. So for A and B, they need their own individual rolls. B gets a roll, A gets a roll, and then it's all good. Now the reason this has to be this way is because you can take your A and B, and these need to go to your logic unit as well. So you're adding and using the logic unit at the same time, comparing these two numbers. So, I'll go ahead and demonstrate. So we're gonna focus on the part above this pink half, because this pink half is where the bottom half starts. So the top half is up here. So there's only really 5 logic gates, and I'll explain what those logic gates are. And I have them color-coded kinda over here. I had a different setup earlier. But we have AND, OR, NAND, XOR, and XNOR. Now, XOR is the only one that is different. It's orange. And we already know what XOR does. But what does XNOR do? XNOR is the opposite of XOR. And I'll give you a quick rundown. So in a XOR gate, one of these can be on, but not the other one. Because then it won't be on. It won't be on at all. So if we connect these two, I don't know why it's not connected, but if we connect these two, then we do that. As you can see, it's on now because this one is on. But then when this one turns off, then it's off by default. So this one turns on. But what happens if this one... Oh, it's off. See? XOR. Now, XNOR is going to do the opposite. And whenever they're both on, it'll be, you know... So only one, it's not going to do anything. Now, really, I could go into depth about all these logic gates, but there's so many logic gates in the system here that I can't even explain it. And these are comparing each individual A to its B counterpart. So for this bit over here, for these two A and B's, when those go in, they will run over to here, get thrown into this thing, this massive monster of a machine, and our outputs are going to change a little bit, as you can see here. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a helper to actually switch those, so you can see it in real time. But yeah, that changes the outputs of these gates. And although I could show you every single combination, I honestly don't care. There's too many combinations for me to show them all. And there are other logic gates I could have implemented, but I have decided not to implement those, as it would take too much time, and it would really affect how I've worked this whole system together. In fact, there is one essential gate I am missing, and that is the not A or not B gate. You need one or the other, in this case, so you can do some actual stuff with it. I'm missing both of those. You need one or the other. You could have both if you wanted, but I'm not sure what that would be. So now that I have the logic unit, and I have the main binary unit. I don't know what to call this thing. I don't know. It's just the math arithmetic unit. There we go. Yeah, so now that we have the arithmetic unit and we have the logic unit, what do we need to do with these two things to make them work? Well, we need to make a multiplexer. What is a multiplexer? Well, in simple terms, you put a current in this thing and it tells this thing to do something. But it tells it to select a certain option. So it's like a menu in a video game where you move the thing so that way you can select, you know, the save button or the exit button, you know? It's kind of like that, but it's more like a filter. And it's hard to explain it, and I don't want to explain it, and I'll explain it when we get to that part, but we're not there yet. We're not even to memory yet, and I was already working on memory. So, now that's all done. I guess I'll go ahead and show off some other things I've done. So, yeah. Oh, wait. Maybe I should go into depth about the gates again. The gates have quite a bit of stuff about them. So now all these gates, as I have shown you, it's very complicated looking, but it's actually simple. So if you just follow this pink wire, this is the OR gate, I believe. Yep, it goes over to here to the OR gate. Now these red and blue wires are the A and B. So the A and B continue even into this system here. They go all the way down to the bottom, to this last gate. Now on the top, I had to do some clever work to get it to work because I really should have ordered the gates differently. So for the top part, I've actually got the A and B stop here, but because the AND gate is using torches, I was able to use it as a torch tower to bring the A and the B out of there and make it run this part, which allows this to do its thing, which this is the XOR gate. And then we have the, I believe this is the NAND and OR, and then we repeat down here and OR, and I did it in a different order, honestly. So, yes, we technically have two computers here. Well, two systems. I honestly don't know what we're gonna do with both of them. So I think we're gonna need two multiplexers for each one. They're not independent systems. Is my goal. My goal is to get them to be combined systems, to where they work together and create 8-bit numbers. Which we're gonna have an 8-bit computer. It's gonna be good. So yes, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. I hope you found it interesting, and yeah, if you enjoyed it, you know, please consider liking and subscribing. If you guys got any comments, questions, or suggestions about what we can do to this thing to make it more functional and work better, you know, let me know down below. I'll probably just do what I want, but hey, I just like to say that, okay? So, I'll see y'all next time, and hopefully, I'll have a multiplexer. Even though that's probably not gonna happen, it's gonna take a while.